case. The state has told the court at least 8 IS flags were found on one of the properties that were raided. Let's get you the very latest on the story now. eNCA's Dasen Thathiah has been tracking it. He joins us now live. Dasen, just in terms of what the basis is for this new line of questioning from the state in this case, do we have more to go on than these flags that were found on that one property that was raided?
Certainly, Michelle. In fact, this was contained in the state's affidavit in the bail application of 11 of those accused. There are 12 currently in total. There was a man who was granted bail of 100,000 rand last week. And as you know, 7 of the accused had the charges against them provisionally withdrawn. There were originally 19 that were arrested at the properties in Reservoir Hills. That's where I am at the moment. And during that raid, police had initially arrested 3 of them and then later brought in the others as well. So this forms part of the state's argument in their opposition of bail for those 11 accused. And in it, they do detail some of those alleged activities relating to ISIS. So what they're saying, in effect, is that there were 2 properties in Reservoir Hills. Accused number 1, who's seen by the state as the ringleader, lived in one of those properties, and the other co-accused were also found there. But there was another property as well, which was owned by accused number 1, and that property was where this alleged training facility was held, or at least that was the property that was used as a training facility. Those flags that you mentioned, supposedly found in that home, but also a manual on how to design a bomb, also some other literature from ISIS. And in that, the state is saying that there were the teachings of ISIS, which speaks about financial jihad. So in effect, it's teaching those that are reading that to practice a form of resistance, really, and to try to extort money or punish those that are seen as non-believers financially. Now that ties into the other motive that the state has put forward, and that was the motive of extortion. You'll know that some of the businesses that were targeted were requested to give money to these attackers, or else their properties would be blown up. And in fact, what we found out during those court proceedings yesterday was that all of this didn't start unfolding with just the Verulam mosque, where one of those members was stabbed in May. But in fact, there were businesses that had been targeted before that. And in one case, in the case of a used car business that's in Mgeni Road near the Durban CBD, there was a device that was found there. It had been set off, damaging some of those cars. And there was also a request that was put in to deposit $100,000 to prevent any further attacks.
Now, Dasen, when the story first started unfolding and we saw those various explosive devices being found in various places across Durban in those retail stores, as is always the case with stories like this, the police were reluctant to even use the word terrorism. What are they saying now about this jump to Islamic State, and what they know about the methods used by IS to infiltrate communities?
Well, there's not much on that just yet because, well, with the matter being in court now, the police haven't really commented on any of that just yet. And you're right until this point, that word terrorism wasn't used, and I guess it was just not to cause panic in the minds of the public, especially with all of this going on. But the police now, if that affidavit is anything to go by, was certainly investigating allegations of terrorism and terror-related activities, and they've now said that openly in court. In fact, one of the statements in that affidavit speaks about international peace and security, and that the state, in opposing the bail, says that it's essential that they have these accused behind bars so as not to jeopardize that, because the thinking then is that if these men were out, that would be compromised as well. So there was quite a bit of detail on ISIS and its role here. And although it isn't directly said that these are members of ISIS, what the state has categorically said in its statement is that they were certainly supportive of the activities. In fact, accused number 2 was also part of a WhatsApp group, and that was found on his cell phone, a group called Soldiers of God, and that further linked this group to these types of terrorist activities.
Well, this is surely just the very beginning of the story. Thanks very much for that. Our reporter, Dasen